So at the top of a video, I am supposed to tell you what this video is going to be about so that you stick around and you watch all of it. So I'm going to tell you now. This is Sunday, January 25th. Sorry, I'm a little bit of a dizzy. There was a shooting, as I'm sure all of you know, in Minnesota yesterday where a man, an ICU nurse, was killed. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it from a spiritual lens, like what's going on with the whole reincarnation thing that I always talk about, and what we can do about it, and just to have somebody else to process your grief with. I've looked on too many YouTube videos, and there's a lot of news out there. There's a lot of news that talked about what happened. I'm emotional about this. This has really broken me. And so I've been looking for something to help me through this. I watched Saturday Night Live last night, hoping that there would be some moment of silence or something to talk about it, and there isn't. So I didn't really want to do a video, but I felt like maybe you need somebody to process with too. So here I am, a hot mess. This is not going to be a polished video. This is not going to be a highly edited video. You're going to hear the streetcar going by my window because I just wanted to be real. I have a few notes to talk about. I wanted to think through how we can reframe this or how we can understand what's happening. So I'm gonna not edit too much. Maybe if I just stare off into the distance, pondering life, I might cut that out. But in general, I just wanted this to be a real moment with you. When this stuff happens, I tend to go into a real, wiser, bigger picture, trying to understand things and be a little bit more removed and detached from things, and get upset and see the human pain and suffering and understand that it's part of this whole game that we're here playing, where we came into form to experience pain and suffering so we can grow, right? So I try to take that space, and I just can't with Alex, who's a healer, who was a healer, who still is on the other side, bumbling through, wondering why he's there, why he's dead, and what we're going to do next, and what we're going to make of his sacrifice, his gift, the gift of his life. Okay, so obviously, this has hit me hard, clearly. I'm not a person who cries. That's the other thing that's funny. I'd never cry. But, but this is a lot. I imagine you're feeling it too. I imagine you are feeling it too. I imagine you're feeling the heaviness and the energy that's going on in the world right now. So why is this happening? Okay, I'll try to get into the big picture here. Why is this happening? So we know that we are going through a collective awakening. And I'm going to say we, because if you're watching this video, you are probably a mature soul or an old soul. This is probably not something any young soul is going to care about. So if you're an older soul, I'm sure you felt this on some level. You're feeling this on some level. It's why you're watching this. So we're going through this collective awakening. This is what a lot of teachers have talked about. I mean, Eckhart Tolle has talked about a new earth coming in. Lee Harris, who I like a lot, who I follow, talks about, from his guides, have talked about this time of change and transformation that we're going through. And there are other channelers and psychics and spiritual beings, and even I myself have talked about this collective awakening that we're going through, and that apparently it's going to really culminate in the year 2030. And as part of this collective awakening, we are being slapped across the face to wake up. I think that some of the old energy is coming up to the surface to really be in our face. You know, a lot of people will talk about how this is very reminiscent of Nazi Germany. And while it's not the same thing, one of the videos that I saw talked about how history rhymes. And I think that there is a rhyming happening here, but in a different way, in a way where like we can see it. Like, can you imagine what would life have been like in Nazi Germany if people had phones in their hands? Or conversely, what would be happening right now if we didn't? And what the stories would be told, because we know what the stories are being told even when we can see in our face what happened. So this energy is coming up, I believe, for us to look at it and to clear it and to say, this is not what we're a part of. This is not what we are. This is not who we are as a humanity. I really hope that's what we say. I really hope that's what we say. What else did I want to say? Sorry, I've got some notes. So I often talk about how we're learning lessons, right? That these different things come up to help us learn lessons. So I was thinking about like, is this a lesson that we're supposed to be learning? All this like Nazi Germany stuff and authoritarianism and all of that. And I don't think it's a lesson. I think it's alignment. I think we're being asked what we want to align to and what we choose to align to. Are we going to align with darkness and fear? Or are we going to align with our true higher selves and the light that we are here to bring? And I'm going to talk more about that. At least according to my notes, I'm going to talk more about it. And one thing else I'll say too, on the reincarnation front. So when we hate another group of people, we often then end up incarnating as that identity so that we can understand it from that perspective. And I know that not everybody likes to hear that, and I get it. You don't want to incarnate as, you know, an ICE agent or a Republican or, you know, insert your opposition. But I do wonder if there were a lot of Germans that hated the Nazis. There were a lot of, sorry, let me rephrase that. My brain isn't working. I'm trying to process everything. If there were a lot of Nazis that hated Americans, right? If that's maybe what's happening, that a lot of Nazis reincarnated as Americans. But I also wonder if this also wasn't intentional, that group of souls that experienced Nazi Germany on whatever side of it was then brought over to the U.S. because there was an elevation that we could do here in the U.S. based off of the position we have in the world, based off how loud we are about everything, based off of how many guns we have, and the drama that's here, and the diversity and the conflict and all of that, that maybe this was just a good stage for this drama. Yeah, maybe that's what's happening. And also like all the people who didn't get a chance to say something or couldn't say something or didn't say something when everybody was being murdered in Germany. Maybe now we have a chance to try again. Like maybe this is our chance to try again. And I'm using my voice. That's what I'm doing. I figure, well, that's what I can do is I can speak up. I can say something. I've got a camera. So here we are. Okay. Hopefully this isn't too messy here. What's going to happen next? Okay, so we're talking about this is part of the great collective awakening. We're having these horrible experiences to shake us up and wake us up and say, what are you aligning with? What happens next? I wish this was something that just automatically flipped a switch, but we know it won't. Like, you know, George Floyd happened and all of that went after that, and change happened. And then look at the backlash that happened when they're tearing down information about slavery, because in Maryland, I think it was, or wherever, they're tearing down anything that has to draw attention to the fact that there's been inequities and racism in this country. So it's not like it's a magic bullet, but sometimes, I'm going to say this to one person out there who will appreciate this. Sometimes it's like you take a couple steps forward and then you take a step back. And you take a couple steps forward and then you take a couple steps back, or a step back. But even when we take steps backwards, we're still taking more steps forward. We're still taking more steps forward. And we just got to keep doing that. We just got to keep doing it. We just have to keep doing that. So what I think is going to happen next, it's, like I said, it's not going to be a light switch. I think a lot of people are going to have to wake up to what they've been participating in, and have to ask themselves if they want to participate in this anymore. Whether that's just ignorance and just being like, la, 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 that doesn't affect me, or the people that are actively supporting the leadership that is creating this version of reality that we're living in. My intuition tells me that, as we know, DHS is going to do an investigation of the event, of the murder, of the execution. And you know what, in like a causal way, I actually think that might be a good thing, because I think what will happen is that they will come out and they will say, these officers did nothing wrong. That seems pretty clear what they'll say. I mean, it's certainly what they said for Renee Good. And I think that will then cause a rupture. I think when you have such clear evidence of what happened, you can see it. There are multiple camera angles. It's very clear. He was helping a woman who had fallen over. He had already been pepper sprayed. I mean, you've seen the videos. I don't need to replay it to you. You've already been traumatized. I don't need to re-traumatize you. And then they're going to say whatever horrible, atrocious things they say about this man, and that this was a justified killing. I think a lot of people will then have to ask what they want to be a part of, if they want to be a part of a group that behaves this way. I think that rupture will be very telling. I think it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. I hope we pass, and I hope we don't just devolve into divisions. I mean, even if the Republicans that are waking up don't want to be a part of the Democrats because because of whatever stories they believe or they've heard about Democrats, maybe at least they can be independents. I don't know. It's going to be a few more years, I think, for us to get through this. I wish I could say this is going to be something we're going to wake up from quickly, but at least I think it is an opportunity for us to wake up. And I do also want to say, for those of you who are like, I'm not a part of, I'm not in the middle of things, right? I can walk around my city, even though it's Portland, and we know Portland's seen its share of excitement. I can walk through the city feeling pretty safe with my skin tone and my lifestyle. And so if you're somebody who can't walk around your city safe, if you're afraid, if you've lost people have disappeared, or you just feel it. You're just somebody who just feels everything. I'm sorry, and I send my love to you, and I don't want to say anything that makes light of what this situation is, or that minimizes the experience and how hard this is. So I can only say just keep breathing and just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. Okay, well that takes us to what we can do. Let's talk about what we can do. After we have a chance to grieve and to yell and to learn and to educate and to reach out to the folks in our lives who might be more vulnerable than we are, all of the things. As I said earlier, you are an old soul or a mature soul. You've been through this a time or two. You've been around the planet for a while. You came here purposefully, intentionally for this time period. You came here to do something about what is happening right now. You came here to shine light in the world. You came here to bring light into the world during this time to help with the shift. Now, that doesn't mean that you are here to go out and fight the fight. Some of you, yes, that is your role. You are advocates. You are folks that are supposed to be out there fighting for people. And if that's your role, then do it. Then go out and do it. But it doesn't have to look that way. You have something you came here to create, or something you came here to be of service to. This is the time to start doing that. You might not know what that looks like. You might not know, you might be afraid. You might be uncertain. You might not really believe in yourself or doubt yourself. Just get started with whatever makes you feel lighter and more like yourself. It is time for you to share your light. It is time to bring light into this darkness. We need your light. We need your light. You don't need to be judging yourself or blaming yourself or thinking you're not good enough or any of that negative, dark energy. We don't need that. You are beautiful, you are bright, you are not perfect, and that is okay. That is okay. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know what it is you're supposed to be doing. You don't have to know how to do it perfectly yet or ever. You just have to start sharing your light, whatever that means. Please, please start sharing some light in the world. I am trying to do mine. So here we are. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I hope you're doing okay. I hope you take care of yourself. I hope we all can be there for each other. With that, I'll shut up and hope I don't have to do a video like this again. Right, I love you.